Have I mentioned that my birthday is coming up? Have I mentioned I'm turning 40? Have I mentioned that I'm having a 1940s themed birthday party to kick off my year of dressing vintage? I'm going to need a new dress, nay, a new gown for this party. Welcome back to Lately Fashionable. I am Chelsea Souter, and I am about to embark on a year of dressing vintage, beginning on my birthday, March 22nd. And I want to start it off with a bang. To that end, I am going to use this gorgeous yellow silk damask fabric, damask, and this vintage reprint pattern. Ignore the fact that it's from 51. We're gonna fudge it. It's just barely into the 50s, so I'm gonna count it. It's fine. It's very reminiscent of the elegant, dramatic, floor-length evening gowns of the 40s. And I'm excited, so I should really get started. I have 2 weeks to make this gown, so I should really get started now. Of course, we started off where all of my projects start, at the ironing board. I always press both my fabric and my paper pattern pieces to ensure that everything will be cut out as accurately as possible. Can we just appreciate how gorgeous this fabric is? It's like it's woven out of sunshine. Okay, it's very important that I cut out the pieces on the correct side of the fabric because the two sides are very different, but it's also hard to tell which is which at first glance, so I'm going to need to be very, very careful. I determined that with the words printed side up, that will be the right side. So I need to flip my fabric over because this is currently the wrong side and lay everything out single layer because it's an asymmetrical dress and cut it all out. I also determined that this dress should fit me in the bust and the hips, but it's going to be too small in the waist, so I'm going to add room at the waist so I don't have issues later. So this, I have decided, is the wrong side with the yellow background. I want the yellow to be the motif and the cream the background. Also, you can see I have a weird shape cut out of one corner. I will give you 3 guesses as to what I made from this. It was also crucial to make sure that I was laying out all of the pattern pieces the right way up, as the fabric design is very directional. And I paid strict attention to the grain lines on this one. I am so scared. I also made sure that the back bodice piece, the only piece that was to be cut on the fold, was centered on a motif of the fabric design. The front of the gown is asymmetrical, but the back is symmetrical, so it was important to me to get that symmetry correct. The only nerve-wracking part was when I realized I needed 2 back skirt panels, but as I was cutting it out single layer, I could not get all of the pieces pinned on before I started cutting. So I measured that piece and ensured I had left enough room on the other side of the yardage to cut it out. Serendipitously, I was able to match the pattern at the center back seam, which I had conveniently placed on the selvage edge so the design would be mirrored across the back of the skirt. Otherwise, I did not worry about pattern matching. Okay, I cut this dress out a week ago and then did nothing with it for an entire week, which means I now have 1 week to finish it. But don't worry, I'm going to try to do it all today. What can go wrong, right? So I've had to read through the instructions, and this is all of it. This back page is not even intentionally left blank, it's an ad, but that's all. Those are all the instructions. So it's fairly straightforward, I think. It should be. It should be fairly straightforward. It's just a lot of tucks, not even full darts, which I'm happy about. And then a lot of hand sewing binding on the inside to cover the raw edges. And luckily, I have this vintage seam binding that I got at an estate sale years ago, and it is shockingly the exact right color of yellow. Like, how perfect is that? And there's tons of it, so I should be able to do all of the seam binding that it tells me to do, but I think I'm also just going to go ahead and bind all of the seams of the dress and have it finished really, really nicely on the inside. So my goal is really to do all of the machine sewing today, and then I will have time to finish the hand sewing over the next few days. We'll see. I'm just going to get it constructed. And I think I'm actually going to put a zipper in this, and I'm not planning on putting pockets in because it's an evening gown, and anytime I wear it, I'm going to have a purse with me. That will be part of the ensemble, so I'm not making any changes to the design of the gown. I'm just doing it as the pattern calls for. So here we go. I have already marked all of the darts and tucks, so it's just the sewing. Should go pretty quick, I hope. Okay, I've got the bodice constructed, and I just tried it on The fit is pretty good through the front, but the back was really sort of baggy, and therefore, don't have any footage of that, sorry. I made the darts bigger in the back, not at the waist so much. I kind of went straight up from the waist edge and then tapered to make the dart both deeper and taller, and that has pulled in the excess bagginess at the back. And I thread marked where the center of both of the front pieces ends up so that when I tried it on I could overlap and pin everything properly. So this is where that front overlap comes to at the waist, and that felt pretty good when I tried it on. So this will get gathered up to the waist stay, and I'm going to do that after I hand sew the seam binding all along the front neck edge. There's a facing for the back piece, so I'm going to attach that and then do the front seam binding by hand while I go inside and watch a movie with my husband and kids. So here's how the bodice is fitting. I'm really happy with it. This is where the side zipper is going to go, and I think I am actually going to use a zipper. I don't normally like to sew zippers, and I usually try to avoid it through whatever means necessary, but this time I think it will just be easiest to put in a zipper. I might just sew it by hand because that is easier for me than trying to do it by machine. But I'm very happy with how the neckline is looking. It's matching up where it's supposed to. You can see my thread tack for the center front. Those are supposed to overlap right where they are. It's a really nice sweetheart neckline. I like it. The back is fitting better now that I've taken the darts in more. Yeah, I think it's going to be really great. I have made a big mistake. It's a good thing I discovered it now. I've been so careful this whole time to make sure I'm sewing right sides to right sides. I'm using the cream background and the yellow as the design. But I sewed all of these pleats on the skirt backwards. I sewed the seam correctly. So this seam, which is already bound and finished, is correct, but these pleats are inside out, so I need to take them out and redo them. I've gone ahead and marked with pencil on the wrong side where they start and stop so that I can match them back up after I seam rip and press them really well. So I'm going to do that quick. And I've decided I am going to go rogue after all and make this without a zipper. Because it's almost a faux wrap dress. It's not really, it's a surplice bodice, but it also has the bit of the skirt that's gathered up and looks like it could be a wrap dress. So I'm going to make it a faux wrap dress. Because I hate faux wrap dresses that have zippers that do not need to have zippers. I hate sewing zippers, and also I really don't enjoy getting into or out of dresses with side zippers, so I was already not looking forward to that. So this will make it better for me to sew, I think, but also so much easier to get in and out of. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to use this pattern piece here, which is meant to be a stay on the inside underneath those pleats and gathers, just to like hold everything in place and make it really stable at that seam. But I'm going to use that as a placket. I'm going to cut another one and I'll have matching finished seams on either side of, well, let me just show you. Okay, so this is the skirt front, and this, when I have the tucks sewn the right way around, this is a giant dart, but all of this gets gathered up to meet the other side of the cut dart. And then this piece gets the edges finished and sewn on the inside, I think just hand tacked inside, basically to cover that seam and make it all nice and neat and finished edges on the inside. So I'm going to cut another one, and I will sew this one to this side of the dart, and the other one the other way to this side of the dart, all gathered up. And this will be my skirt opening, and this will attach to the top, to the front bodice, and this will attach to the other side of the bodice. I think it's going to work. It's going to be great. Okay, the rain was cute half an hour ago, and now it's flooding my sewing studio. Well, this is less than ideal. I went in the house and grabbed a bunch of towels, and they are all thoroughly soaked. And there's still water coming in. And my feet are soaked. My shoes were fully submerged the minute I stepped out onto the patio. I have lifted my surge protector up off the ground and my machine foot pedal. I think I need to move some more stuff off the floor and then go inside for the night. It's 10:30 p.m. and it's supposed to keep raining for 4 more hours. So this is pretty troubling. I've had water in my studio before, but never this much. And I'm scared. Okay, well, it's been 45 minutes and I have gotten everything off the floor that isn't already in a rubber tub. And the rain has slowed down, hasn't stopped, but it's at least not pouring. So I think that's all I can do tonight. I need to go to bed. I'm exhausted and very thirsty. Ironically, I finished the water in my water bottle and now I need more. So I guess I'll check in with you in the morning. Well, that was quite eventful, wasn't it? Whew. Well, my sewing studio is in quite a state of disarray at the moment, so I might not finish recording all of the sewing on this gown. I might just make it all off camera and skip to the reveal. I had to pick up so much stuff off the floor, so now every surface that's not the floor is covered, and I need to make sure the floor is fully dry before I put things back down. So that might be a few days. I've got a dehumidifier running. I apologize if you can hear it, but I am not going to turn it off, probably for a week. But I am very close to finishing this. I'm currently doing the binding on the top shoulder seams, just stitching it by hand on the inside. And I'm just going to keep plugging along on this dress. I'm going to finish it, hopefully before tomorrow. Not that I want to wear it tomorrow. I'm not wearing it until Saturday, and today is Monday. But I need to record my year-end wrap-up video, and this is garment 24 of my year of sewing vintage, so I do want to include it in that wrap-up. And that means I need to be able to put it on so that I can film and photograph it before Saturday. But all I really have left to do is gather up that skirt dart that I was showing you to that triangular stay piece, which is now going to be the placket for the front opening of the skirt. And so the other placket on the other side of the dart, finish those both really nicely. So the front skirt to the back skirt, attach the skirt to the bodice, hem it, and then add closures, which are probably going to be snaps, I think. I'll try to show you what I'm doing. I might not have a decent space to do so. Maybe I can clear off the ironing board. There's just stuff everywhere. I don't want to show you my studio right now. It's in shambles. None of my fabric got wet. None of my patterns got wet. A few bottoms of cardboard boxes that had random things in them got wet on the bottom, but nothing important was destroyed or even really dampened. I'm going to keep the dehumidifier running to prevent mold and mildew from growing, but everything really important is on this side of the studio, and it was the far side over there that got water on the floor. And like I said, I moved my surge protector off the floor before it got wet, and all of the outlets are like 2 feet off of the ground all around the room, so nothing was dangling in the water. Everything electrical is fine. It's all good. Just the floor is damp and needs to dry out. One bright spot is that I'm using silk sewing thread because I happened to find electric yellow silk thread when I was at Joann's to get thread before I can't get thread anymore. I'm not using it in the machine because I don't think that's necessary, but it is so nice to hand sew with. Hand sewing silk with silk thread is one of the most luxurious experiences of my life. It just glides through. And I can actually directly compare because some of this hand sewing I did do with polyester thread, and it was not nearly this smooth. So this is much nicer, and the color match is so good. So, focusing on the positive. That's all we can do these days, isn't it? Okay, gonna get back to this. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, here's what I have done to avoid sewing a zipper. So this is what the pattern looks like. Let me get the actual line drawing. So it has this wrap looking front and then an invisible side zipper here, but I don't want to do a side zipper because it looks like it could close here at the side. So that's what I'm making it do. So I cut a second triangular stay piece, which is what the pattern calls it. Here, I got out the pattern. So the intent is you have this slash that becomes a dart, but you attach the other side of the skirt front to it, and then this all gets gathered to fit into that, so that you have this gathered section sewn on the other side of this dart. And then this stay, which you finish the edges, just gets sewn on the inside by hand, really to cover all the raw edges of the dart and all the gathers and things. So instead, I'm having mine function as a placket, and this will be my front closure. So I'm going to need to deal with the raw edges on this side. I'll probably just cover them in the seam binding that I've been using for all the other seams. But this one covers everything in there. So this is a nicely finished edge, and this will get snaps or hooks and eyes or something that becomes the closure here. And I did go ahead and extend this dart a little bit to close it up really, really well so that there wasn't going to be a lot of strain, because this just comes to a point, this stitching here, because it's a dart, it just comes to a point, but then it's clipped and now it's an opening, so I didn't want it to fray out and have a lot of strain on it. I did also add some interfacing to the stay stitching I did before I clipped. So this will be my closure, and I'm happy about that. I'm liking how it's going to look, but I have a slight problem. And I truly do not know how this happened, because I was so careful when I was cutting it out to make sure I had the right side up and that I was cutting and sewing everything with the ivory ground and the yellow design. But the bodice is backwards. This overlaps with the pretty pleats on the wrong side. It's supposed to be over here. And I don't understand how that happened. I'm so confused. Alright, I got out the pattern pieces because I just couldn't fathom how that had happened. And it looks like the pattern pieces are wrong. This says bodice left front, but it has the pleats and it has the side zipper marked. But that's wrong. It's supposed to be the right front going over the left front. The right front is the one that's supposed to have the pleats, and the left is supposed to have the gathered edge. So the pattern is wrong. I cut it out correctly. The pattern is wrong. So what I think I'm going to do is take the gathering out of the right side and use the left side front piece to mark the tucks and sew them in and just go with it, because the bodice is already done. It's finished. I'm not going to take it apart. I'm going to leave the tucks on the left side because I think they're fine. It fits and I like the way they look. I'm just going to repeat those on the right side where they're supposed to be and just continue on. Hopefully finish this thing because I need to be done. I need to be done with it. I have other things to do. I'm annoyed too because I was really thorough with sewing the stay to the inside to hold all the gathers in place before I attached it to the skirt, and now I have to undo all of this. Okay, I fixed it. Now both sides are pleated. I don't see any reason why the underside should be gathered and the crossover part should be pleated. Why not pleat them both? It looks better. It looks so much better. Well, it finally happened. I ran out of bobbin. I had wound a full bobbin of this color before starting this dress, and it got me really far. I'm on the last bound edge of a seam, and then I just have to attach the bodice to the skirt and hem it. So, yeah. There's actually a lot of stitching in this dress though because of the bound seams, because you sew every seam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, even though there's not that many seams in the skirt. There's only 3, but sewing each of them 5 times, the length of the seam 5 times to bind them. Yeah, it really adds up. Okay, it turns out the pattern was not wrong. I was wrong. It turns out it shows right here that the gathered section is supposed to overlap the pleated section. So the pattern was correct. I just interpreted this illustration with these nicely ordered pleats, I thought, as being the tucks in the pattern. And I guess they're just gathers that happen to fall perfectly correctly on the, you know, imaginary model's body. I did not like the way the gathers looked crossing over on me with this fabric, which might just be a function of this fabric. But anyway, what's done is done. I do like the way it looks. I think it's very beautiful with the tucks on both sides of the bodice, so I'm happy with it. And the dress is done. Here it is. I even put shoulder pads in it, which I stole from another dress. It still needs a closure, which I'm gonna go do very soon. I did already model this for my year of sewing wrap-up video. I just pinned it on and it was fine, but it's otherwise finished. It has a hem. Yay, it has a hem. It's really fun to wear. It's gorgeous. It's so eye-catching and glamorous and exactly what I was going for my birthday dress. And yes, you will get to see it on me very shortly. I will jump ahead in the video to my birthday and you will get to see me wear it at my party. I'm very excited. So get ready for the reveal. And that is my birthday gown. I had a really nice time at my birthday party. My parents came and surprised me. My brother brought them up. My parents live in Iowa, so I was not expecting them to be able to come. So they pulled off a really good surprise by turning up and wearing 1940s appropriate clothing. They both looked adorable. And as you saw, I got a grand staircase entrance into my party, which I felt like the dress deserved. I mean, look at it. It's so fabulous. Oh, also, I made this lovely flower pin. Can you focus on it? There we go. I made it totally off camera. I actually made it before I even started on the dress because I wanted to make sure I had flowers that were the right color, that would look good, because this is kind of a weird yellow. It's a little bit cool toned. Usually yellow is a very, very warm color. So I needed flowers that were in the right color family, and I think I pulled that off really well. Also made one for my hair. I love wearing flowers in my hair. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I had it be removable, so that's not interfering with the closure in any way. I can just add it later, and I can always take it off if it's bothering me. So yes, overall, very happy with the dress. I have worn it twice now because it's been a month since I started making this video. Editing takes me a long time. So in the meantime, my husband and I have celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary, and I wore this dress again when we went out to a fancy dinner. My husband dressed up too. Doesn't he look sharp? It was kind of funny. We were in the elevator of our hotel, on our way to dinner, and a guy got in the elevator with us and said, "You guys are kind of dressed up." Which was amusing to both of us. So the cost per wear is already going down, which is good because the silk was quite expensive. And I'm glad I finally made something from it and have gotten to use it. I love it. It's everything I wanted it to be. Oh, and if you guessed a Christmas stocking at the beginning of the video, you would be correct. I made this stocking for my mom, whose favorite color is yellow, when she and my dad were visiting us 2 Christmases ago. And I made my dad one in blue because that's his favorite color. I hope you enjoyed watching me make my dress, because I certainly enjoyed making it and wearing it. Didn't enjoy the flash flooding so much, but my studio is now dry. Let's hope it remains that way. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a like, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye! I'm not in focus at all. So here's, wow.